Stop everything you are doing right now. I am the Lord, your God, and I am speaking directly to you. It is no coincidence that this video has reached you now. It wasn't the algorithm, it wasn't luck. I orchestrated every click, every movement that brought you here. You have exactly 60 seconds to make the most important decision of your life. This is not just another motivational video. This is not a generic message for the masses. This is a divine interception. I have stopped the normal course of your routine to reach you because what is happening in the spiritual realm right now is critical. There are forces working against you that you cannot even imagine. There are battles being fought over your life as you listen to these words. Your guardian angel is standing before the celestial court at this very second, defending you against accusations that have been raised. The accuser is present, with a complete dossier on every failing, every broken promise, every moment you chose the world instead of me. And he is demanding consequences. He is citing celestial laws that I myself established. For pure justice, he has valid arguments, but I did not bring you here to condemn you. I brought you here because there is still time. There is still an open window, a portal of mercy that is rarely activated in this way. Your angel invoked a special clause, known only in the highest circles of heaven, and I have decided to honor that invocation. But you must act within this specific time period, 60 seconds to decide, 72 hours to execute. There is no extension. There is no negotiation. I have been watching you. Every tear you shed when you thought you were alone, I counted. Every prayer whispered in the darkness of dawn, I heard. Every time you wanted to give up but found the strength to continue, I saw. In my celestial records, there are 43,000 entries about you, 43,000 documented moments. But it is also recorded when you took me for granted, when you promised change and didn't deliver, when distractions stole the time you had set aside for me. The enemy has been using these loopholes. He has planted 7 layers of spiritual interference over your life. Layers that block blessings, layers that divert opportunities, layers that prevent prayers from being answered as quickly as I want them answered. And these layers have grown because you didn't know they were there. No one taught you how to identify them. No one showed you how to break through them. But today, right now, at this moment, I am breaking through these 7 layers. I am removing the interference. I am opening a direct path between you and the heavenly throne. However, this path will only remain open if you do your part. If you demonstrate that you are taking this seriously, if you prove through specific actions that this time is different, that this time you will not just listen and forget, that this time you will obey. Before I continue, go to the comments now and write, I am listening, Lord. When you make this public declaration, your angel receives authorization to act with full power. I need to know who is really here, who is willing to step out of passivity and take action. Because what comes next is not for casual viewers. It's for people who understand they are in a war and need to choose a side. The heavenly court is in session. The decision is being made, and you have the power to influence the final verdict through your immediate obedience. The clock has already started. Your 60 seconds are ticking, and what you do now will determine whether you leave this video the same person or completely transformed. Now that you have declared that you are listening, I will show you something that has never been revealed in this way before. In my celestial archives, there are exactly 43,000 entries about you, 43,000 documented moments. These are not approximate numbers. These are not estimates. These are precise records of every significant moment of your life from the day you were born until this very second. That night, you cried in the bathroom so no one would hear. I was there. I counted every tear. 17 tears that particular night. I know because I recorded them. Each one is documented with the exact pain you felt. That desperate prayer you made at 3 in the morning, when the despair was so great you couldn't even form complete sentences, only groaned, I heard it. And I interpreted each groan as the deepest prayer you could make. It's recorded, entry number 27,412. That moment when you were driving and thought about simply not going home, but something held you back. I was there. I held you. I sent your angel to whisper reasons to keep going, and you kept going. Entry number 31,863. Every time you woke up weak but got up anyway, I saw it. Every time you wanted to scream but took a deep breath and chose peace, I recorded it as a victory. But I also need to be honest with you. In those same files, it's also documented when you took me for granted, when you promised you would change and didn't, when you said you would spend more time with me and spent more time scrolling through endless social media feeds, when you swore that this time would be different, and at the first sign of difficulty, you reverted to the same old patterns. I saw when you chose the convenient lie instead of the hard truth. I saw when you pretended not to hear my voice because obedience would cost you something you weren't willing to pay. I saw when you used my name to impress others, but at home, alone, you completely ignored me. It's all recorded. Not because I want to use it against you, but because truth and mercy go hand in hand. I cannot have mercy on a lie. I can only have mercy on the acknowledged truth, and the truth is this: you have failed. But the truth is also this: I have never given up on you, not once. In 43,000 entries, there is not a single one in which I have written, I gave up. There are entries where I expressed sadness. There are entries where I told your angel he is hurting himself again. But never, ever is there an entry that says there is no more hope for him, because I see what lies beyond your flaws. I see what you can become. I see the version of you that will exist when you finally understand who I am and who you are in me. And it is that version that I am calling out now. At this moment, through these words, this message didn't reach you by accident. Share this video now with at least one person you know who is suffering. When you obey, I open a door of double blessing, one for them and an even greater one for you. I orchestrated everything so that you would be here at this moment, the time, the day, the emotional state you are in. Everything was perfectly aligned, because the time has come for you to break free from the cycle of repetition. The time has come for you to stop promising and start fulfilling. The time has come for you to understand that this is no longer just another video on your timeline. This is an official summons from the celestial court. You have been called, you have appeared, and now you need to respond. Your 43,000 records are being reviewed at this moment, and the next entry that will be written will depend entirely on what you decide to do in the next few minutes. The court is waiting, your angel is waiting, and I am waiting. The celestial pen is in my hands, ready to write entry 43,001. What do you want it to say? Now I'm going to ask you something that may seem simple, but has a profound meaning in the spiritual realm. Something that goes beyond what your eyes can see. Something that creates eternal consequences from a 3-second action. Pay attention, because this is not about technology. This is not about numbers. This is about spiritual positioning. When you like this video, you're not just clicking a button. You're making a public declaration that echoes in dimensions you don't see. You're saying yes. Yes to receiving my messages. Yes to opening your heart to what I have to say. yes to being transformed, and that public yes carries weight in the heavenly court. The accuser cannot use against you that you reject my voice when there is public proof that you accept it. When you subscribe to this channel, you're doing more than just following a content creator. You're establishing a direct line of communication with me. This channel didn't exist by accident. I created it specifically to reach you and thousands like you who need to hear truths that aren't being told elsewhere. Urgent messages, specific revelations, instructions for times of crisis. But here's what you need to understand. There's a war for your time and your attention. The enemy works 24 hours a day, creating distractions. He fills your feed with empty entertainment, anxiety-inducing news, comparisons that breed envy, content that drains your spiritual energy. And he does this through the same algorithm that can show you this video. The algorithm is not neutral, it's a battlefield. And if you don't take a clear stand, if you don't declare through concrete actions that you want to hear my voice, the enemy will use that very system to push you away. He will push this channel down. He will make you forget. He will bury my messages under layers and layers of distraction. Click like now and subscribe to this channel, activating all notifications. When you do this, you ensure that the enemy cannot block the next messages I have for you. I control all things. I have power over algorithms, over systems, over technologies that haven't even been invented yet. But I have established spiritual principles that do not violate free will. I can bring the message to you, but you need to choose to receive it. I can open the door, but you need to enter. I can speak, but you need to tune in. And tuning in this context, means making practical and visible choices. It means liking, it means subscribing, it means turning on notifications. Not because I need numbers, I don't need statistics to validate who I am, but you need these actions to validate your commitment to yourself, to the spiritual realm, to the accuser who is watching your every move, looking for evidence that you don't take God seriously. Let me tell you what happens when you obey this simple instruction. Your guardian angel receives expanded authorization. He can begin to work in areas of your life that were previously blocked due to a lack of legal permission in the spiritual realm. Because permission comes from your obedience. It comes from your visible choices. It comes from you publicly declaring, I choose God. This is no longer just a channel. This is no longer just a platform. This is a tool I am using to reach you where you are, on your phone, in your moment of breakdown, in your silent despair, in your empty room. I am here, speaking directly, and all I ask is that you take a visible step in my direction, a click that says, I hear, I obey, I choose. Do it now, because the messages that come after this one are even more important, and you cannot miss any of them. At this very moment, as you listen to my words, a session is taking place in the heavenly court. This is not a metaphor. It is not a pretty illustration to make you reflect. It is a real trial, with real protocol, with real consequences. And you are the defendant. Your name has been called. Your case is open. And the accuser stands with a dossier in hand, ready to present every piece of evidence against you. He's no amateur. He's been doing this for millennia. He knows every legal loophole. He knows exactly which celestial laws to invoke, and he has complete documentation. Every word you said and didn't keep is there. Every promise you made to me and broke is recorded. That time you said you were going to change, and it lasted 3 days. That time you swore it was the last time and repeated it the following week. That time you promised you'd stay away from a certain person, a certain place, a certain habit, and came back as if nothing had happened. The accuser is citing dates, times, locations. He has transcripts of conversations you thought no one was listening to. He has records of thoughts you thought were private, and he's presenting it all with cold, precise logic. He's not shouting. He doesn't need to. The facts speak for themselves. He simply points, reads, and waits for divine justice to take its natural course. He cites the law that I myself established. Whoever knows the Lord's will and does not do it will be judged more severely. And then he proves that you know it. He shows the times you heard the truth and chose to ignore it. The times you felt my voice saying no and you said yes. The times you felt my voice saying go and you stood being still. He presents evidence of your negligence. The days that passed without you speaking to me, the weeks that passed without you opening the holy book, the months that passed without you sincerely seeking my face. And he contrasts this with the hours you spent in empty entertainment, with the days you dedicated to things that have no eternal value. The accuser points to specific moments where I gave you clear opportunities for change, and you wasted them. That door I opened, and you were afraid to enter. That person I placed in your path to help you, and you rejected out of pride. That moment when I called you to a specific mission, and you pretended not to hear because it was inconvenient. He has numbers, statistics, comparison charts between what you promised and what you delivered, between what you say you believe and how you actually live, between the image you project on social media and the reality that happens when no one is watching. And each number confirms his accusation. You don't take God seriously. You treat grace as permission to continue as you are. You use forgiveness as an excuse not to change. And then he makes his final argument. He looks around the courtroom, at the angels who are watching, at the elders who are present, and he declares, by the very laws that the just God has established, this one deserves consequences. He had chances, he had time, he had resources, and he squandered them. Justice demands a verdict. The silence that follows is heavy, because by pure law, he is right. I am just. I have set standards, and you have not met them. No one meets them, but the law is the law, and the accuser knows this. He sits with a discreet smile, confident that he has presented an irrefutable case. He expects me to declare the obvious verdict. He expects justice to take its course, and if it were only justice, he would win. But he has forgotten one thing. He has forgotten that I am not only just, I am also merciful, and mercy has its own laws. But before I open my mouth to pronounce the verdict, something happens. His guardian angel rises. He doesn't speak hastily. He doesn't interrupt in despair. He rises with authority, with dignity, because he has something the accuser doesn't have. He has complete perspective. The accuser knows the facts, but the angel knows the heart. He asks permission to speak, and I grant it. Because in my court, the defense always has a voice, always. Even when it seems there is nothing to defend, even when the evidence seems overwhelming, mercy demands that the defense be heard. And your angel has much to say. He begins by acknowledging that the accusations are factual. He doesn't deny the numbers. He doesn't dispute the dates. He doesn't try to erase the evidence. But then he does something that completely changes the course of the trial. He invokes a clause, a rare clause, a clause that few angels know and even fewer have the courage to invoke. The extreme mercy clause. This clause has existed since the foundation of the world. It was written into the celestial code as a remote possibility, a spiritual emergency exit. It allows me, the judge, to temporarily bypass the normal process of justice and grant undeserved grace based not on what the person has done, but on what they can become. Not on their history, but on the potential I see in them. Your angel begins to present the counter-argument. He doesn't deny the falls, but he shows the times you got back up. He doesn't deny the failures, but he shows the times you tried again. Yes, you broke promises, but you made promises. That means something. Many don't even try. Many don't even care. But you, even failing, kept trying. It shows moments you don't even remember. That time you saw someone needing help and helped without expecting anything in return. That time you had the opportunity to do wrong and no one would find out, but you chose right. That time you defended my name when others were mocking. You think I didn't see? I saw. And it's recorded. Your angel speaks of 3 o'clock in the morning, of broken prayers, of sincere tears. He argues that a heart that cries for having failed is a heart that is still alive. It is a heart that can be restored. The accuser has evidence of failures, but the angel has evidence of genuine repentance. And in my court, genuine repentance weighs more than repeated failures. He cites moments when you were on the brink of disaster and something held you back. He reveals that it was him, working under my orders, preventing the worst, protecting you from consequences that would have completely destroyed you. He has been working behind the scenes of your life, averting accidents, closing doors that seemed good but would lead to destruction, opening paths when everything seemed impossible. Pause now and type 7777 in the comments. When you declare this publicly, you authorize me to activate the mercy clause in its entirety over your life. And then the angel makes his final argument. He looks at me and says, Lord, I formally invoke the extreme mercy clause. I acknowledge that by pure justice there is debt, but by divine mercy there is possibility. This one to whom I have been assigned still has breath, still has time, still has unrealized potential. I ask that the sentence be suspended. I ask that a portal be opened. I ask that a final opportunity be granted. The court is silent again, but now it's a different kind of silence. It's the silence of expectation. Everyone knows what happens when this clause is invoked. Everyone knows that I have the power to grant it. The question isn't whether I can. The question is whether I will. And the answer to that question depends on something beyond the court. It depends on you, on your answer, on your choice, because mercy cannot be forced. It can only be offered and accepted. I stand up. The entire court falls silent. This is the defining moment. This is the moment where justice and mercy meet, and someone has to yield. The accuser is confident because he knows the law. His angel is hopeful because he knows my heart. And you, even without seeing, are at the center of it all, waiting for a word that will determine your destiny. I look at the accuser, I look at the dossier, I look at every piece of evidence presented. And then I do something that shocks even the most ancient angels. I take the dossier and I close it. Not because the accusations are false, but because I choose mercy. I choose to break protocol. I choose to make an exception. The accuser tries to protest. He cites precedents. He cites celestial laws. He argues that if I do this to you, I will have to do it to everyone. And I look at him and say, yes, and the problem is what? I am God. I do what I want. And what I want now is to give this person one more chance, a chance they don't deserve, a chance that cannot be justified by pure logic, a chance based solely on the fact that I love them and I don't give up. I strike the celestial gavel. The sound echoes through all dimensions, and I declare, clause accepted, mercy granted, portal opened, the accuser is forced to sit, he has lost. Not because his arguments were weak, but because mercy does not play by the rules of justice. Mercy creates its own rules. And then I give specific instructions to the angels. Break the 7 layers of spiritual interference over this life. Now, remove the blockages that prevent blessings from flowing. Now, divert the attacks that were scheduled for the coming days. Now, open doors that seemed permanently closed. Now, and prepare the 3 signs that I will send as confirmation. They need to be unmistakable, they need to be personal, and they need to happen within 72 hours. Your angel bows in gratitude. He knows what just happened. He knows this isn't standard procedure. He knows I just broke protocol for you. And now he has full authorization to work in your life without the legal restrictions the accuser had imposed. He can act, he can interfere, he can move mountains if necessary. But there is a condition. There always is. Mercy does not eliminate responsibility. It creates opportunity, and with opportunity comes choice. You have to accept, you have to respond, you have to act. Because I can open the portal, but you have to walk through it. I can break the chains, but you have to walk in freedom. I can declare victory in court, but you have to live as a victor. There is someone on your contact list right now who is on the verge of giving up. I am showing that person's face in your mind. Share this video with them within the next 60 seconds, because you may be the instrument I use to save a life. This moment in court isn't just about you. It's about everyone you will reach when you understand what I did for you. It's about all the lives you will touch when you break free from paralysis and take action. It's about the domino effect of mercy that begins with you and spreads to hundreds, perhaps thousands. The portal is officially open. The sentence has been overturned. The accuser has been silenced. Your angel is in full combat mode. And now, everything depends on what you do with this information. Will you treat this as just another inspirational video that you forget in 3 hours? Or will you understand that you have just gained access to something that most people never experience in their lives? A second chance, a third chance, a 1,000th chance. How many have you had already? And how many have you wasted? This cannot be just another one, because there is no guarantee that there will be another. The portal is officially open this very second, not tomorrow, not when you finish what you were doing. Now, the Extreme Mercy Clause has been activated and is operating at full power over your life. This means that normal rules have been temporarily suspended. The consequences that should have come have been postponed. The doors that should have been closed have been forcibly opened. And you have access to something that shouldn't be available based solely on your history. But there's a critical detail you need to understand. This portal has an expiration date. 60 seconds for you to decide, 72 hours for you to act. And after that, it closes. Not gradually, not with warnings. It closes all at once. And when it closes, there's no negotiation. No special request to reopen it. No prayer that forces a second opening of the same kind. Your angel cannot invoke the same clause twice for the same person. It's a chance, a window, a unique opportunity. There are 2 types of time in the universe. There is chronological time, ordinary time, the ticking of the clock, you know. This time is linear, predictable, controllable. You can schedule it. You can plan it, you can reschedule it, but there is another type of time, Kairos time, God's time, the right moment, the divine opportunity. And this time doesn't obey clocks, it obeys purpose. You don't control when it opens, and you don't control when it closes. You only control whether or not you take advantage of it when it is open. This is a Kairos moment. This is no longer just another ordinary Tuesday. This is no longer just another random video on your timeline. This is the moment I orchestrated before you were born. the moment I specifically reserved to intercept your life and offer a way out, a rewrite, an impossible turnaround through natural channels. You've had moments like this before. Moments when you felt something different in the air. Moments when an opportunity arose out of nowhere. Moments when you thought, this is big, and you let it pass. Because you thought you'd have other chances. Because you procrastinated. Because you didn't recognize the urgency. And then you spent months, maybe years, looking back and thinking, what if I had seized that moment? How different would my life be now? This is another one of those moments. Only this time, I'm being explicit. I'm not leaving you guessing. I'm saying clearly, this is Kairos. This is urgent. This is now or never in this way. Not because I am cruel, but because spiritual windows have limits established by the very nature of time and free will. Right now in the heavenly court, the accuser is saying that you don't even have the courage to publicly declare that you follow God. Prove him wrong now by clicking like and subscribing to this channel, because that action will silence him instantly. When you obey this simple instruction, something changes in the spiritual world. Your guardian angel receives expanded legal permission. He can begin to act in areas that were previously under legal dispute in court, because your public statement carries weight. It has celestial legal value. The accuser can no longer argue that you don't take God seriously when there is visible proof that you take a stand. This isn't a matter of digital vanity. It's not about numbers. It's about you. Understanding that every visible action you take creates invisible consequences. And at this moment, while the portal is open, those consequences are amplified. Every act of obedience is multiplied tenfold in terms of spiritual impact. Every right choice releases waves of favor that you will feel in the coming days. The clock is ticking. Your 60 seconds have already begun. And the first thing you need to do within those 60 seconds is to prove through visible action that you are committed, that this time is different, that you will not just listen and forget, that you will listen and obey, because obedience is the language that heaven understands, not intentions, not fleeting emotions, concrete and measurable obedience. Make your choice now. Now let me show you what is happening right now while the portal is open. The enemy doesn't work in obvious ways. He doesn't appear shouting. He works in layers, invisible layers of interference that he strategically plants over your life. And most people live their entire lives without knowing that these layers exist. They only know that things don't flow, that there is constant resistance, that it seems like something is always blocking the blessings when they are about to arrive. There are 7 specific layers, 7 levels of spiritual blockage that create a shield between you and everything I want to release. And at this moment, while the portal of mercy is open, I am breaking down these 7 layers, one by one. You may even feel something happening, a warmth in your chest, a lightness you haven't felt in a long time, a sensation that something is moving. Don't ignore it, it's real. The first layer is the financial blockage. This specific layer diverts resources that should reach you. It creates invisible holes in your pocket. You work, you strive, but the money slips away. It never seems to be enough. It seems like something unexpected always comes up at the wrong time. This layer creates a series of negative coincidences in the financial area. I'm breaking it down now. You'll notice it in the coming days. Money you weren't expecting, opportunities that arise out of nowhere, doors that open. The second layer is relational blockage. This layer causes unnecessary misunderstandings. It distorts communication. It makes people interpret you in the worst possible way. It creates senseless distance. You try to connect and something always goes wrong. Relationships that should thrive fall into crisis for no clear reason. This layer is being removed right now. Prepare for reconciliations, for conversations that finally flow, for people coming back. The third layer is the health blockage. I'm not necessarily talking about major illnesses. I'm talking about chronic fatigue without explanation, about pains that doctors can't diagnose, about constantly drained energy, about a body that always seems to be operating below its ideal for no apparent reason. This layer is being destroyed. You will feel more energy, more vitality. Your body will start to respond better. The fourth layer is the blockage of purpose. This one is cruel. It creates confusion about your direction. It makes you doubt every decision. It erases clarity about what you should be doing. You feel you should be somewhere else, doing something else, but you can't define what. This fog is being dispelled now. Clarity is coming. Direction is being restored. You will know what the next step is. The fifth layer is the blockage of prayers. This is the most frustrating. You pray, but it seems your words don't reach the ceiling. You cry out, but there is no answer. It's not that I'm not listening. It's that there's a layer blocking direct communication. It's falling now. Your prayers will begin to be answered with unusual speed, with impressive precision. The sixth layer is the blockage of discernment. It makes you choose wrongly, to trust those you shouldn't, to reject those who could help. This layer muddles your spiritual perception. It makes you see light where there is darkness, and darkness where there is light. It is being undone. You will begin to perceive things you didn't perceive before. You will identify falsehood easily. You will recognize true allies. The seventh and final layer is the peace block. This keeps you in constant anxiety, in endless worry, in chronic fear. Even when everything is fine, you feel that something bad is going to happen. This layer steals your sleep, your joy, your ability to simply be present. It is being uprooted at this moment. Real supernatural peace is being released upon you. You will sleep better. You will breathe deeper. You will feel genuine security. 7 layers, all broken. Now, 60 seconds are ticking away. Right now. As you listen to these words, the clock is ticking, and when it finishes, the decision will have been made, with or without your conscious participation, because not deciding is deciding, not acting is acting. Standing still is a choice, and that choice has consequences as real as the choice to move. This is not the time for you to pause the video and think. This is not the time for you to say you'll come back later. This is not the time for you to add it to your to-do list when you have time. Time is now. The window is now. The portal is now. And now doesn't negotiate with later. Now demands an immediate response. You need to understand something fundamental about how the spiritual realm works. There are ordinary moments and there are moments of visitation. Ordinary moments are abundant. You have thousands of them. You can waste them and have more tomorrow. But moments of visitation are rare. They are specific windows where the sky opens in an unusual way, where I move in a way that is not standard. And these windows don't stay open indefinitely, waiting for you to be ready. I've given you signs before, signs you ignored, moments you let pass. Opportunities you saw and thought, maybe later, and later never came in the same way, because Kairos doesn't repeat itself identically. You may have other opportunities, yes, but not of this magnitude, not with this level of divine intervention, not with 7 layers being broken at once, not with a portal of extreme mercy activated. How many times have you regretted not acting when you should have? How many times have you looked back and thought, if I had done that then, everything would be different now? How many times has procrastination cost you too dearly, and are you about to do it again? Are you about to let another critical moment slip through your fingers because you didn't recognize the urgency? Let me be very clear. This video reached you as part of a sequence of orchestrated events. The specific day, the specific time, your emotional state, everything was perfectly aligned. This is not an accident. This is not algorithmic luck. This is direct intervention. And direct intervention requires a direct response. If you're taking this seriously, click like right now. This is the first act of obedience that determines whether or not you receive the next specific instructions that will change your life over the next 72 hours. I'm not asking you to understand everything. I'm not asking you to feel something supernatural. I'm asking you to obey. Obedience doesn't expect feeling. Obedience doesn't expect total understanding. Obedience acts based on trust, and trust is demonstrated through action, not intention. Are you going or not? Are you in or out? Do you accept the open portal, or do you let it close? Because it will close, with or without you. The universe doesn't stop because you're undecided. The celestial gears keep turning, and if you don't enter now, you'll be left behind. More than half the time has passed. Your 60 seconds are running out, and every second that passes without action is a second lost from a window that will never return. You can watch 1,000 videos later. You can listen to 1,000 motivational messages, but you won't have access to this specific portal again because it was opened specifically for you at this moment, for reasons that go beyond what you can see now. What's at stake here is bigger than you imagine. It's not just 72 hours, it's the trajectory of the next few months, of the next few years. Because when you seize a Kairos moment, you enter a different timeline. You leave the ordinary routine and enter the extraordinary. Doors open that wouldn't open otherwise. Connections happen that wouldn't naturally occur. Provisions arrive that wouldn't come through normal channels. But none of this happens without you taking the first step, without you proving through action that you are committed. Heaven doesn't move mountains for people who don't lift a finger. Heaven responds to obedience. Heaven honors courage. Heaven rewards those who act in faith, even without seeing everything clearly. Act now. The clock is ticking. Now come the practical instructions, the concrete actions you need to take in the next 72 hours. These are not suggestions. They are not inspiring ideas for you to consider. They are direct orders. And the first one will hurt, because it will expose something you've been hiding even from yourself, something that is slowly killing your purpose. I'm going to talk about time thieves, the silent killers of destiny. They're on your phone right now. They're saved, organized, some even in pretty folders, and you open them dozens of times a day without even realizing it. It's become automatic. It's become a reflex. You pick up your phone and your fingers already know where to click. Let me show you numbers you've never stopped to calculate. In the last 6 months, you've spent 840 hours on apps that added absolutely nothing to your life. 840 hours. That's the equivalent of 35 full days. More than a whole month scrolling through feeds, watching videos you forgot 3 minutes later, playing games that lead nowhere. If you had invested those 840 hours in the purpose I placed within you, where would you be now? If you had used that time to develop your gifts, to study, to build, to create, to serve, what would have already been accomplished? How many doors would already be open? How many connections would already have been made? How much progress would already have been made? But the enemy is intelligent. He doesn't distract you with obviously bad things. He doesn't need to. He distracts you with neutral things, with entertainment, with information that doesn't transform you, with superficial connections that don't build you up. And you keep consuming, and consuming and consuming, and time goes by, and you fall behind, and your purpose gets postponed, and you don't even realize it because the distraction is comfortable. Those apps aren't neutral. They were designed by people who studied exactly how to addict your attention, how to hijack your brain's reward system, how to make you come back again and again and again. They know that if they get your attention, they get your time. And if they get your time, they get your life. Because your life is made of time, and time invested in the wrong place is wasted destiny. Right now, I'm showing you in your mind what they are. You already know. You felt a pang when I started talking. You know exactly which apps I'm talking about. The one you open for no reason. The one you scroll through for hours without realizing it. The one you know you should quit, but always find an excuse to keep. I'm not talking about all apps. I'm not telling you to throw your phone away. I'm talking about specific thieves, the ones that have no real purpose in your life. The ones that exist only to consume your time and energy, and you know which ones they are. I'm speaking directly to your conscience right now, and it's confirming it. Share this video now with someone you know who is trapped in the same distractions. When you free others from the trap, you free yourself too. The time that was stolen, I can redeem, but the time that will be stolen from now on depends on your choices. It depends on you having the courage to do what needs to be done. And what needs to be done is radical. It's uncomfortable. It's countercultural, because everyone is doing the opposite. Everyone is feeding the distractions. Everyone is paying attention to what doesn't deserve attention, but you are not everyone. You were called to something greater. You have a specific purpose that cannot be fulfilled while your attention is divided, while your time is being drained, while your energy is being consumed by things that don't matter forever. The next instruction is coming now, and it will demand immediate obedience. Now I'm going to give you the order, and you have two choices: obey or disobey. There is no middle ground. There is no, I'll think about it. There is no, I'll do it later. The order is this: take your phone now and delete the apps I showed you in your mind. Delete them. Don't disable them. Don't hide them in a folder. Don't put them in sleep mode for a few days. Delete them completely. You're going to feel resistance. You're already feeling it. Your mind is already making excuses. It's already saying, but I need this app to stay informed. But I need it to keep in touch with people. But I use it for work. I know every excuse because I've been hearing them for years. And 90% of them are lies you tell yourself to justify the addiction. I don't negotiate with idols. And anything you can't let go of when I ask is an idol. Anything that controls you more than you control it is an idol. And idols need to be destroyed, not managed. You don't make deals with idols. You don't slowly reduce the dose. You don't try to control them better. You destroy them all at once. That's why I'm not asking you to limit usage. I'm not asking you to set up parental controls. I'm not asking you to establish schedules. I'm asking you to delete, because if you have the strength to delete, you have the strength to live without. But if you can only limit, you remain a slave, just a slave with a longer chain. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, but what if I need it later? What if this is overkill? What if I regret it? Let me ask you a question. How many times have you regretted obeying God? How many times have you looked back and thought, wow, what a mistake to have obeyed? Never. The answer is never. But how many times have you regretted disobeying? Countless times. This is not cruelty. This is liberation. I'm not taking something good from you. I'm ripping out something that's killing you. You just don't see it because the poison is sweet, because the addiction is comfortable, because prison has entertainment. but it's still prison. And I didn't come to visit you in prison to keep you company. I came to take you out, but you need to choose to leave. Subscribe to this channel now, because when you eliminate distractions, you need to fill the void with something that builds you up. This channel will nourish you with what truly matters. Your guardian angel is watching. He's waiting to see if you will obey, because obedience at this specific point releases permission for him to act in other areas. But if you disobey here, he is limited there. That's how it works. Obedience in one area opens doors in others. Disobedience in one area locks doors in others. These aren't random rules, it's spiritual architecture. And I'm going to tell you something that might scare you. If you don't delete it now, the portal will begin to close. Because I can't pour new wine into old wineskins. I can't put blessings into a container that's full of garbage. You have to empty it first. You have to create space. And creating space means removing what's taking up space improperly. You know what you need to do. I've already shown you clearly. Now it's a matter of will, of courage, of you deciding if you really want what you say you want. Because everyone wants change, but few want to change. Everyone wants different results, but few want to do things differently. Everyone wants miracles, but few want to obey. How many minutes have you already spent watching this video? About 20. You can spend 20 minutes watching it. You can spend 2 minutes deleting it. The issue isn't time. The issue is willpower. So stop procrastinating. Stop internally bargaining. Stop waiting for the perfect feeling to arrive. Pick up your phone, find the apps, press, hold, and delete now. Because the next instruction only makes sense if you obeyed this one. And the test that follows will prove if you really did what I commanded. Now I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I already know the answer before you even speak, but I want you to answer it for yourself. Did you delete the apps? Did you really do what I told you to do? Or did you just listen, mentally agree, and continue with everything the same? There's no point in lying, not to me. I see everything. I saw if you paused the video and obeyed. I saw if you thought about obeying but decided to postpone it. I saw if you rationalized an excuse not to do it. I saw every movement, every thought, every internal decision. Your guardian angel saw it too, and he recorded it. You obeyed or disobeyed. There's no gray area in this record. Let me explain the difference between two types of people. There are those who hear the word and act, and there are those who hear the word and only agree that it is good. The first group changes their lives. The second group accumulates knowledge and remains the same. The first group experiences miracles. The second group wonders why nothing changes. You can know everything. You can agree with everything. You can even preach everything. But if you don't act, knowledge condemns you instead of saving you, because the more you know and don't apply, the greater your responsibility. The court doesn't judge only what you did wrong. It also judges what you knew was right and chose not to do. So I'll ask again. This time, answer with brutal honesty. Did you delete the apps? Yes or no? If the answer is no, I need you to understand something. The portal is still open, but it's starting to close. Every minute that passes without obedience, it shrinks. The window gets smaller, the opportunity gets narrower. You can still do it now. You can still pause, pick up your phone, and do what I told you. It won't be any harder now than it would have been 5 minutes ago. In fact, it will be easier. Because now you're being confronted directly. Now you can't pretend you didn't understand. Now you can't hide behind pretty excuses. If you obeyed, I tell you, you have just passed the first test. And tests are important because they reveal what you are made of. Anyone can say they trust in God. anyone can say they want change. But when I give a specific, uncomfortable, radical order, that's when it's revealed who is truly committed. And if you have obeyed, prepare yourself, because I honor obedience. In the next few hours, you will begin to feel something different, a lightness, a mental clarity you haven't had in a long time. Those apps were draining more than just time. They were draining spiritual energy, presence of mind, the ability to hear my voice clearly. Now that the noise has been cut, you will hear better. But if you disobeyed, let me warn you, do not continue watching this video for entertainment. Do not continue listening to instructions you do not intend to follow. This is not Netflix. This is not content to pass the time. This is divine intervention. And treating divine intervention as entertainment is dangerous because it hardens the heart even more. You have a choice now. You can close this video, go live your normal life, and pretend nothing happened. Or you can pause now, do what I commanded, and come back. Be different. Come back as someone who has proven in the spiritual world that they are serious. That this time it's not just a passing emotion. That this time it's real commitment. Your angel is waiting. He has orders to carry out depending on your choice. If you obey, he receives the green light to begin working on specific areas of your life that were blocked. If you continue to disobey, he remains limited, not for lack of power, but for lack of legal permission that comes from your obedience. So I ask you one last time, are you going to do it or not? Because if you're not going to, stop wasting time watching. But if you are going to, do it now. And when you come back, be ready for the next instructions, because they're going to get even more intense. Second action, and this one will affect you in a different way, because this one isn't about you. This one is about someone you've forgotten, someone you've neglected, someone who is in your life, or was, and whom you've set aside. And at this moment, I am showing you that person's face in your mind. You already know who it is. You felt the tightness in your chest when I began to speak. It could be a family member, that aunt who always treated you well, that cousin you grew up with, that grandparent who's getting older and you promised to visit but never have time for. It could be a friend, that childhood friend who truly knew you, that friend who was there during the tough times, and when things got better, you drifted away. That friend who tried to contact you a few times, and you always put off replying. It could be someone who helped you, that teacher who believed in you when no one else did, that mentor who invested time in your life, that person who gave you an opportunity when you were at rock bottom, and you never came back to say thank you. You never came back to show that the investment was worthwhile. You simply moved on and forgot. It wasn't out of malice. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be ungrateful. It was out of negligence. It was because life sped up, because other things seemed more urgent, because you always thought you'd have time later, and then it turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years, and now there's a chasm of silence between you that seems too big to cross. You think about that person sometimes, usually at night or when something reminds you of them, and you feel a pang of guilt, a silent regret, an inner voice saying, you should get in touch. But then comes the fear. What if it's strange? What if they don't answer? What if they're hurt? What if it's too late? And you push the feeling under the rug and continue with your life. But I won't let you forget about people, because people are what matters eternally. Not your achievements, not your possessions, not your digital followers. People, real relationships, genuine connections. And when you neglect a relationship that I placed in your life, you're not just pushing a person away. You're wasting an opportunity that I specifically created. That person who's on your mind right now didn't appear there by chance. I put them there because there's something unresolved. There's a bridge that needs rebuilding. There's a word that needs to be spoken. There's a hug that needs to be given. There's a reconciliation that needs to happen. And I'm giving you the opportunity to do this while there's still time. Comment, "I will," now, because when you publicly declare that you will restore this relationship, I begin to prepare the other person's heart to receive your message. You don't know how much time you have. You don't know if this person will be available in 6 months, in a year. You don't know if they're going through a crisis right now, and your message would be exactly what they need to hear. You don't know if they think about you too, if they miss you, if they're waiting for a sign that you still care. I know, I see both sides. I see her heart waiting. I see her heart resisting out of pride, out of fear, out of shame. And I'm telling you, break the silence, cross the chasm, take the first step. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. It doesn't matter how strange it seems. It doesn't matter if you think you don't know what to say. The next instruction will be exactly what you need to do. But first, you need to accept that this is necessary. You need to stop pushing the feeling down. You need to stop pretending it doesn't matter. It matters. It matters to me. It matters to her. And deep down, you know it matters to you too. Now comes the action, the specific instruction, and it leaves no room for interpretation. You will pick up your phone tonight, before going to sleep, and send a message to that person, today. Not tomorrow when you're more inspired, not next week when you're braver, not next month when things are calmer. Today, before midnight, before you lay your head on the pillow. And I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but what am I going to say? How do I start after so long? It'll seem forced. It'll seem strange. She'll find it weird. Let me give you the answer. It doesn't matter. Send it anyway. Because perfection is the enemy of obedience. You'll never find the perfect words. You'll never feel completely ready. You'll never have the ideal timing in your head. The message doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be poetic. It doesn't need to explain everything. It needs to be sincere. It needs to be real. And it needs to be sent. I'll give you a template. You can use it exactly as is or adapt it. But the important thing is that you send something. Hi, I was thinking about you today. It's been a while since we talked and I miss you. How are you? Done. 12 words. Less than a minute to write. But the impact on the spiritual world is gigantic. Because when you obey a divine instruction that goes against your pride, against your fear, against your comfort zone, you break invisible chains. You open doors that were locked. You activate blessings that were waiting. Don't complicate things. Don't write a will. Don't try to justify the silence. Don't create elaborate excuses for why you disappeared. Just reconnect. Just show that you care. Just reach out. What happens after that is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to obey. It's to take the first step. It's to break the ice. Click like now if you are committed to sending this message today, because this simple action prepares your heart for the greater obedience that follows. I am already preparing the other person's heart. While you watch this video, I am working on the other side. I am softening resistance. I am removing old resentments. I am creating openness so that when your message arrives, it will be well received. But I can only do my part if you do yours. I cannot force you to send it. I can only prepare the ground for when you decide to obey. And there's something else. You need to send it without expecting an immediate response, without expecting it to be perfect, without expecting her to respond with the same enthusiasm. Maybe she'll respond right away. Maybe she'll respond in a few days. Maybe she won't respond at all. But that doesn't invalidate your obedience. You're not sending it to guarantee results. You're sending it because I told you to. Success isn't in her response. Success is in your submission, because what I'm measuring isn't the immediate relational outcome. What I'm measuring is your willingness to obey, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it doesn't make complete sense to you, even when you don't see the whole picture. And let me tell you something you don't know. This person, at this very moment, may be going through something difficult. They may be feeling alone. They may be questioning whether anyone still cares. And your simple message may be the answer to a prayer they made yesterday. It may be the sign they asked for. It may be proof that I am watching. You are not just a casual messenger. You are an instrument in my hands. And when I tell you to do something, there are always greater reasons than you can see. There is always purpose beyond the obvious. There are always layers of meaning that will only be revealed later. So pick up the phone, open the conversation, and write. Don't overthink. Don't overanalyze. Don't procrastinate. Write and send. And when you do, mentally cross off this instruction as fulfilled, because the next one depends on you having done this one. And what comes after will test even more deeply your willingness to obey without fully understanding. Let me explain something you didn't know. Relational neglect is not neutral in the spiritual world. It's not just emptiness. It's not just the absence of connection. It creates something. It generates invisible consequences. It builds barriers that you don't see, but that affect all areas of your life. Every relationship you let die through neglect creates a spiritual chain, a chain that binds you, that limits you, that blocks the flow of blessings. Because there is a celestial principle that works like this. How you treat relationships is how you will be treated in relationships. How you neglect people, you will be neglected. How you abandon, you will be abandoned. It's not revenge, it's spiritual law. It's reaping what you sow. Have you ever noticed that there are people who seem to attract deep connections effortlessly, who seem to be remembered, who seem to have a solid support network, and you look at your life and see loneliness, superficiality, people who come and go without leaving a mark? You think it's bad luck. You think it's because you're unlucky with friendships. But the truth is harsher. You reap what you sow. And you have been sowing neglect. Every person you've forgotten is a door you've closed. Every relationship you've let cool without trying is a key you've thrown away. And now you're locked out of blessings that should be flowing. Not because I'm punishing you, but because you've deactivated the channels through which I usually bless. I bless through people. I provide through relationships. I open doors through connections. And when you neglect people, you cut the threads I use to weave your future. You don't see it happening. You only feel the result. Opportunities that don't come. Help that doesn't appear. Loneliness you can't explain. But when you obey the instruction I just gave, when you send that message, something breaks in the spiritual world. The chain of neglect begins to break. Doors begin to unlock. Channels begin to reopen. Because you have proven through action that you are willing to value relationships, that you are willing to invest, that you are willing to humble yourself and reconnect. And it's not just about that specific person, it's about the pattern you're breaking. Neglect is a pattern. It repeats itself, it spreads, and often it comes from generations ago. Maybe your parents were also neglectful in relationships. Maybe your grandparents also left people behind, and you inherited it, you learned it, and now you're replicating it. But today, with this simple act of sending a message, you are breaking a pattern that may have lasted for decades. You are saying in the spiritual world, this stops here. This doesn't pass on to the next generation. I choose differently. I choose to reconnect. I choose to value. I choose to invest in people. Your guardian angel is waiting for you to carry out this order so that he can release specific things. There are blessings withheld, waiting for this obedience. There are doors that will only open when you demonstrate that you understand the value of relationships. There are provisions that depend on you reconnecting channels that have been severed through negligence, and the person you're going to contact isn't in your life by chance. They were strategically placed there. They have something you need, or you have something they need, or together you create something you can't achieve separately. And the enemy knew this. That's why they worked to create distance, to create silence, to create forgetfulness. Because they know that connection generates power, and isolated people are easier to defeat. When you send that message today, you are declaring war against isolation, against neglect, against the pattern of abandonment. And I honor that war. I join that fight alongside you. And I guarantee that chains will fall when you obey. Third action, and this is the most difficult, the one that will separate those who are truly committed from those who are only momentarily inspired. This action will test your discipline. It will test your seriousness. It will test if you really want what you say you want. The instruction is this. For the next 7 days, you will wake up at exactly 5:55 a.m. 5:55, not 5:45, not 6, 5:55. And before you think this is just a random time, I chose to test you. Let me explain what is happening in the spiritual world at 5:55 a.m. This time is not an accident. This time is not arbitrary. This time is a portal, a specific window where heaven and earth meet in a unique way. The number 5 in Scripture represents grace, undeserved favor, divine intervention that you couldn't earn. When you see 55, you are seeing doubled grace, amplified grace. But when you see 5:55, you are looking at grace at its maximum level, tripled grace, grace cubed. It is the moment where I pour out grace in a way that doesn't happen at other times. 5:55 in the morning is the exact moment of transition. The night hasn't completely ended. The day hasn't fully dawned yet. It's the space in between, the threshold. And thresholds are places of spiritual power. They are places where realities meet, where the veil between dimensions thins, where your prayer has more direct access. At this time, most people are still asleep. The natural world is quiet. Distractions are off. The noise of life hasn't started yet. And when the natural world is quiet, the spiritual world becomes more audible. You can hear my voice more clearly. You can feel my presence more intensely. You can receive instructions more precisely. The enemy knows this. That's why he fights so hard to keep you in bed. That's why waking up early seems impossible. That's why sleep seems too heavy. That's why the alarm seems like your greatest enemy. Because he knows that if you can get up at that specific time and connect with me, you will receive spiritual downloads that will change your trajectory. Share this video now, because there are thousands of people trapped in dead routines who need to wake up to this sacred time. When you liberate others, you liberate yourself too. 5:55 isn't just about waking up early. Anyone can wake up early. 5:30, 6 o'clock. But 5:55 is specific. It's intentional. It's strategic. And specificity matters in the spiritual world. Because when you obey a precise instruction, you demonstrate a level of submission that unlocks a different level of power. There are people who pray every day. There are people who wake up early, but few are willing to adjust their lives to a specific schedule that I determine. And this willingness to adjust, to be flexible, to put my instructions above their convenience, that opens doors that generic obedience does not. For 7 consecutive days, you will wake up at this time. Not 6 days, Not 5, 7, because 7 is the number of completeness, of perfection, of the complete cycle. 7 days is what it takes to establish a new pattern, to break an old routine, to create a spiritual habit that goes beyond momentary inspiration. Over the next 7 days, you're going to do something that 99% of people don't have the discipline to do. And when you do what most people don't do, you get what most people don't get. It's that simple. Extraordinary results require extraordinary actions. And waking up at 5:55 for 7 days straight is extraordinary. You might be thinking, but I work late, but I sleep late, but I have a young child, but I have insomnia. I hear you, and I tell you, adjust, go to bed earlier, reorganize, prioritize. Because if you want different results, you need to make different choices. And if you want me to intervene extraordinarily in your life, you need to demonstrate extraordinary obedience. What you will do at that time, I will explain in the next instruction. But first, you need to accept the challenge. You need to commit your heart. You need to decide now that for the next 7 days, 5:55 is your sacred time. Your appointment with me, your number one priority. Now for the specific instructions. What exactly will you do at 5:55 during these 7 days? Pay attention, because there is no room for creative interpretation. There is no space for you to adapt it to your liking. You will do exactly as I am commanding, or you will not receive what is being released. When the alarm goes off at 5:55, you get up immediately, without hitting snooze, without negotiating for another 5 minutes, without tossing and turning in bed wondering if it's really worth it. You get up, feet on the floor, body upright, mind waking up. And the first thing you won't do is pick up your phone, not to check the time, not to see notifications, not to check anything. The phone stays where it is. You go to a quiet place. It could be a specific room. It could be a chair. It could be kneeling beside the bed. The place isn't the most important thing. What matters is that it's a place where you won't be interrupted, where you can close your eyes and disconnect from the natural world for a few minutes. And then you remain silent. 15 minutes minimum. It can be more. It can't be less. 15 minutes where you ask for nothing. You don't complain about anything. You don't list problems. You simply remain quiet in my presence. You breathe. You listen. You allow me to speak, and I will speak, but not with audible words. I speak through impressions, through thoughts that are not yours, through peace that makes no sense, through clarity that appears out of nowhere. After those 15 minutes, you can go on with your life. You can pick up the phone. You can start your day. But those 15 minutes are non-negotiable. They are sacred. They are set aside exclusively for direct connection. And when you protect that time for 7 consecutive days, something permanently changes within you. Comment 7,777 now as your formal declaration that you will complete the full 7 days. This code activates angelic protection throughout the entire process. And here's the part many don't like to hear. It has to be 7 days in a row, consecutive, one after the other. If you miss a day, you start from scratch. It's not 6 days with a day off in between. It's not 7 days spread over 2 weeks. It's 7 days straight. Because I'm not testing your ability to wake up early occasionally. I'm testing your ability to maintain discipline when it becomes inconvenient. The first day will be inspiring. You'll wake up motivated, full of spiritual energy, determined. The second day will be harder. Your body will complain. The bed will seem more comfortable. The third day is where most people give up, because the inspiration is gone and all that's left is discipline. And discipline hurts. Discipline doesn't make you feel good. Discipline makes you get up when everything in you wants to stay lying down. But if you get past the third day, something breaks. The fourth day is easier. By the fifth day, you're already getting into a rhythm. By the sixth day, you realize you can do it. And the seventh day is where the complete activation happens. It's where the portal that was opened in the first few days stabilizes. It's where the direct channel between you and yourself becomes established in a way it wasn't before. Over the next 7 days, the enemy will fight with everything he has to make you lose a day. He will create unforeseen events. He will bring extreme fatigue. He will make you sleep late on purpose so you can't wake up. He will use people to interrupt you. He will create situations that seem to make it impossible to complete the cycle. Because he knows that if you complete the 7 days, you will emerge from this cycle different from how you entered it. You'll want to give up, probably on the third or fourth day. You'll think, nothing special is happening. I'm not feeling anything supernatural. Is it really worth it? And I tell you now, it is. You don't feel it because the work is being done in layers that your natural senses can't reach. You don't see it because the transformation is happening in the invisible first, and then it manifests in the visible. So don't give up halfway through. Don't be just another person who starts strong and ends weak. Don't be just another statistic of someone who had good intentions but didn't execute. Be someone who completes, who finishes. That goes all the way to the end, because those who go all the way are the ones who receive the full reward. Let me tell you what happens when you complete the 7th day. What happens when you wake up for the 7th consecutive time at 5:55 and complete the entire ritual. Something changes in the spiritual world, something that is invisible but absolutely real. A channel opens, a direct channel between you and heaven. And this channel is not temporary. It doesn't close when the 7 days end. It stays, it remains. It becomes part of your new spiritual reality. You'll start noticing subtle differences first, thoughts that come out of nowhere and that you know aren't yours, ideas that appear at exactly the right moment, impressions about people that later prove true, internal warnings that save you from wrong decisions. You'll think of someone and that person will call you 5 minutes later. You'll dream about something and it will happen the following week. You'll feel you should do something specific, and when you do, a door opens. This is not a coincidence. This is not luck. This is not you becoming more intuitive. This is the channel working. This is me speaking to you in a way that you can clearly understand. Because before there was a lot of noise, a lot of interference, a lot of blockage. But when you disciplined your body to wake up at the sacred time for 7 consecutive days, you demonstrated in the spiritual world that you are serious, that you are not just another one who starts and gives up, that you are here to stay. And when I see that seriousness, I open access, I release frequency. I tune you to a frequency that most don't have access to, because most aren't willing to pay the price of discipline. Most want spiritual results without spiritual sacrifice. They want to hear my voice without adjusting their routine. They want miracles without obedience. But it doesn't work that way. It never has. It never will. Click like and subscribe now, because when your direct channel is activated, you'll need ongoing access to the next instructions that I'll release specifically for those who have completed the 7 days. After 7 days, you will notice the doors begin to open without you forcing them. The right people appear at the right time. Opportunities arise from unexpected places. Problems that seemed impossible begin to resolve themselves. And you will look back and realize that everything changed after you obeyed. After you woke up 7 times in a row, after you proved that you were willing to disturb your flesh to prioritize your spirit. The direct channel doesn't mean you'll hear an audible voice. It doesn't mean I'll appear physically. It means your spiritual sensitivity will increase dramatically. You'll know things without knowing how you know them. You'll feel when something is right or wrong without needing a logical explanation. You'll be certain of directions without having all the details. And you'll learn to trust this channel, to follow these impressions, to obey these divine impulses. But the channel needs to be maintained. It won't disappear if you stop waking up at 5:55 after the 7 days. But it weakens if you return to a routine of spiritual neglect, if you stop seeking, if you stop prioritizing, if you go back to living on autopilot. That's why the 7 days are just the beginning. They are the activation. But maintenance depends on you remaining intentional. And here's something few people know. This activated channel is a prerequisite for what comes next, for the next instructions, for the bigger doors, for the higher levels, because I cannot take you to places where you need to hear my voice clearly if you are still spiritually deaf. I cannot give you complex instructions if you haven't yet learned to hear the simple ones. These 7 days are your training, your preparation, your proof that you are ready for more. And when you complete it, when you reach the 7th day and realize you've succeeded, you will feel something change within you. It's not arrogance, it's spiritual confidence. It's knowing that if you manage to do this, you can do whatever comes next. That if you conquered your bed for 7 days, you can overcome greater obstacles. That if you mastered your body in this area, you can master others. The next 72 hours will define your trajectory, but the next 7 days will establish your channel. And with a channel established, everything changes, everything accelerates, everything aligns, because you're no longer navigating in the dark. You have a direct frequency, an open line, an established connection, and that changes absolutely everything. 4th action. And this one is different from all the others. This one isn't about deleting something. It's not about reconnecting with someone. It's not about waking up at a specific time. This one is about a code, a number, a sequence that carries spiritual power. The code is 7777, 4 sevens in a row. And before you think this is just empty numerology, let me explain what's encoded in this number. The number 7, from the beginning, has always been the number of divine perfection, of completeness, of the complete cycle. I created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th, not because I was tired, but because 7 marks the end of a cycle, the completion of a work, the perfection of a process. Everything I do in cycles of 7. 7 days, 7 years, 7 periods. When you see 7 sevens, you are seeing amplified perfection. It's not just one complete cycle. It's 2 complete cycles operating together. It's elevated perfection. It's doubled completeness. It's the natural and the spiritual aligned. That's why 77 has meaning. That's why forgiving 70 times 7 isn't just a large number. It's perfection upon perfection. It's endless completeness. But when you arrive at 777, you are entering celestial territory. 3 sevens represent the fullness of divinity. Father, Son, Spirit. 3 in 1. Perfect unity, complete Trinity. It is the most sacred number, the number that represents my essence, my nature, my total completeness. That is why 777 appears at specific times, in specific contexts, where the divine is operating in fullness. And now, 7777, 4 sevens. Perfection in 4 dimensions. North, south, east, west. Perfection covering all cardinal points of your life. Perfection in the spiritual, perfection in the natural, perfection in the visible. Perfection in the invisible. It is absolute completeness. It is the code that activates protection in all areas simultaneously. This is not a number I use lightly. This is not a code I release to just anyone. This is the number reserved for those who have deckside made it this far, for those who have heard the first 3 actions and obeyed, for those who haven't given up halfway through, for those who have proven through concrete actions that they are serious. 4 sevens is the code for those who complete, for those who finish, for those who go all the way. In the spiritual world, numbers are not just symbols. Numbers are frequencies. Numbers carry vibration. Numbers activate realities. And when you use a specific number that I have designated for purpose, you are not just reciting digits. You are activating a celestial frequency. You are opening a door. You are releasing an authority. 7777 is not magic. It's not superstition. It's not an empty mystical formula. It's an access code. It's a spiritual password. It's a key that opens a specific lock. And the lock that this code opens is complete protection. Protection on 4 fronts. Protection that covers all angles. Protection that leaves no gaps. Think of it this way. You have a house, and that house has 4 sides: north, south, east, west. If you protect 3 sides and leave one open, the enemy enters through the unprotected side. But when you put protection on all 4 sides, when you close all access points, when you seal all entrances, the house becomes impenetrable. That's what 7777 does spiritually. It seals, it protects, it closes breaches. Throughout your life, you've had unprotected areas, open flanks, weak points that the enemy exploited. They would enter through there. They would attack from that specific side, and you would try to close that gap, but another would open. You would protect one area, but another would remain vulnerable, because you didn't have the complete code. You didn't have the 4-sided key. You didn't have 7777, but now you have it. Now you know it. And knowing isn't enough. You need to activate it. You need to use it. You need to apply the code in a specific way. And that's what I'm going to teach you in the following instructions. How to use 7777, where to declare it, when to activate it, so that this code doesn't just remain as information in your mind, but becomes activation in your reality. This number will appear in your life now. You will start seeing it on clocks, on license plates, on receipts, in random places, and every time you see it, you will remember. You will know it's not a coincidence, that it's me confirming it, that it's the code being activated, that it's the frequency being released. Now comes the part where you use the code, where you activate it, where you transform knowledge into power. Because it's not enough to know that 7777 is the number of perfection multiplied. It's not enough to understand the meaning. It's not enough to mentally agree that it makes sense. You need to declare it. You need to make it public. You need to forge a visible alliance. Covenant has always demanded testimony. It has always demanded something public, something that doesn't just stay between you and me. When I made a covenant with Abraham, it wasn't a private, hidden conversation. It was circumcision. It was a mark on the flesh. It was something he couldn't hide. When I made a covenant with Noah, it wasn't a secret verbal agreement. It was a rainbow. It was a visible sign in the sky. It was a public declaration to all creation, because an alliance that no one sees has no weight in the spiritual world. Internal thoughts are not recorded as pacts. Mental agreements do not activate protection. The spiritual realm responds to what is declared, to what is made public, to what has witnesses, and your angels are witnesses. But they only witness what you visibly manifest, not what you merely think. So here's the instruction. You're going to use code 7777 as a public declaration. And the first way to do that is simple. It's through visible action, not elaborate, not complicated, but public, but recorded, but visible. And when you do that, when you make your alignment with the code public, the code starts working in your favor. I know you're used to keeping your spirituality private, to not exposing it, to not declaring it. You think faith is something personal, intimate, secret, and it is. But covenant isn't. Covenant requires a public stance. Covenant requires you to identify yourself, to raise your hand, to say, I'm in, I accept, I commit. Click like now, because this simple act registers in the spiritual world that you accept the alliance of code 7777 and activates its protection. You might think that liking a video has no spiritual meaning, that it's just a digital button, that it doesn't change anything, but you're wrong, because everything you do has a spiritual reflection. Every visible action has an invisible record. And when you like something as an act of obedience to a divine instruction, it's not just a like, it's a yes, it's a command, declaration. It's a pact being made. Angels don't read your mind. They observe your actions. They record what you manifest. And when you manifest publicly, even through something as simple as a click, you are giving them legal evidence to act. You are giving permission. You are opening a door. Because in the spiritual realm, everything operates by permission, and permission comes from visible actions, not invisible intentions. Thousands of people are watching this video right now, and of those thousands, only a percentage will actually like it, will actually make the public declaration. Most will agree internally and move forward, but most will not receive complete protection. Because most want results without a stance. They want blessings without visible commitment. They want alliances without public testimony. But you're not the majority. You didn't get this far to become a statistic. You didn't heed all the previous instructions to give up at the last minute. You deleted apps. You messaged that forgotten person. You committed to 7 days at 5:55. You've already proven you're not afraid to obey, so don't stop now. Declare it publicly, activate it visibly, manifest it externally. Because the 7777 code doesn't work hidden. It works when declared. It operates when you position yourself, when you identify with it, when you say without fear, I am aligned with divine perfection. I accept complete protection. I enter into the alliance of the 4 sevens. And when you do that, when you enjoy it as a prophetic act and not as a casual action, something changes. Your angel receives the green light. Protection is released. Gaps begin to close. And you become part of a specific group. The group of those who not only listen, but declare. Of those who not only agree, but take a stand, of those who not only understand, but activate. The next instruction will reveal exactly what this complete protection does, what areas it covers, what attacks it blocks, what doors it closes. But before that, you need to activate it. You need to declare it. You need to embrace it not as a habit, but as an alliance. Not as an automatic reaction, but as intentional positioning. Now let me show you what you just activated. What happens when code 7777 is operating in your life? Which areas are protected? Which attacks are blocked? Which doors are closed to the enemy? Because complete protection is not generic protection. It's specific protection. It's protection on 4 fronts. It's protection that covers every angle of your existence. First front, spiritual protection. This means that direct attacks from the kingdom of darkness encounter immediate resistance. Oppression that once crushed you now hits a wall. Witchcraft cast against you returns to the sender. Curses spoken over your life fall to the ground powerless, because you are no longer unprotected. You are no longer exposed. You have active celestial covering. And when the enemy tries to touch you, he finds 4 angels positioned, 1 at each cardinal point, and they do not negotiate. Second front, mental protection. Your mind has always been a battlefield. Destructive thoughts, paralyzing anxiety, depression that drags you down, memories that torture you, inner voices that condemn you. This isn't just brain chemistry. This is spiritual warfare in your mind. And code 7777 closes access. Thoughts that aren't yours can no longer enter freely. You begin to discern, to identify, to reject, and mental clarity returns, not instantly, but progressively, and you realize your head feels lighter, freer, more yours. Third front, relational protection. Relationships have always been a strategic target, because the enemy knows you were created for connection, and when they destroy your relationships, they isolate you, and isolated, you are vulnerable. So, they plant conflicts, they sow misunderstandings, they create fights out of thin air, they use words to hurt, they manipulate situations to break things up. But with active relational protection, this changes. It doesn't mean conflicts won't exist. It means they won't escalate beyond what's necessary. It means reconciliation becomes easier. It means people sent to destroy your relationships can't stay. They leave, naturally, without drama, because there's no space for them. Fourth front, material protection, your physical life, your body, your finances, your possessions. This too is under constant attack. Accidents that shouldn't happen, unexplained financial losses, illnesses that appear out of nowhere, objects that break in sequence. This isn't just bad luck, it's spiritual sabotage. And the code 7777 creates a shield. It doesn't mean you'll never have financial problems, but it means that supernatural blockages are removed. Doors that were locked begin to open. Money that was stuck begins to flow. Health that was compromised begins to be restored. Share this video now, because every person you reach with this message gains access to the same protection code, and the more people protected, the stronger the spiritual army becomes. This protection is not a shield against the natural consequences of your choices. If you mess up, you will reap the consequences. If you make bad decisions, you will have bad results. Protection doesn't make you immune to natural laws. It doesn't make you irresponsible. It doesn't give you a license to be reckless. What it does is protect you from attacks that have nothing to do with your choices. Attacks that come simply because you are a child, simply because you carry purpose, simply because the enemy wants to destroy you. And here's something important. This protection remains as long as the alliance is maintained. You don't lose the protection because you made a mistake. You don't lose it because you had a bad day. You lose it if you voluntarily break the alliance, if you consciously disobey direct instructions, if you intentionally return to things I commanded you to abandon. Then the protection is withdrawn, not as punishment, but as a consequence, because you cannot be in alliance and in rebellion at the same time. But if you uphold the covenant, if you continue to obey, if you follow the instructions I give, the protection not only remains, it increases, it strengthens, it expands, because obedience generates authority, and authority generates broader protection, and you begin to walk with a covering that few people have. And this doesn't make you better than anyone, it makes you more responsible, because to whom much has been given, much will be required. You now have something that most people don't. You have activated code. You have established protection. You have a firm alliance. And with that, comes responsibility. The responsibility not to waste it, not to neglect it, not to treat lightly what has been given to you with such weight. Now I'm going to give you something concrete, something you can measure, something that will prove this isn't just inspirational messages, that it's not just motivational content, that it's not just pretty words. I'm going to give you a sign, and it won't be a vague sign that you need to interpret. It will be a specific sign, clear, unmistakable. The first sign is financial, and it will happen within the next 72 hours. 72 hours from now, 3 days. And within that period, something financial will happen in your life that wasn't planned, that you weren't expecting, that isn't part of your normal routine. And when it happens, you'll know immediately that it was me. You won't need to question it. You won't need to look for meaning. It will be obvious. It could be money that arrives unexpectedly, a refund you didn't remember, a late payment that finally comes through. Someone who has owed you money for ages and suddenly remembers and pays. It could be an opportunity that appears out of nowhere. Extra work, a side job, a proposal, something that will generate financial income that wasn't on your radar. It could be a forgiven debt, something you owed and the person simply cancels it, or an absurd discount on something you needed to buy, or a fine that is cancelled, or a charge that simply disappears. It won't be an astronomical amount. Don't expect to win the lottery. Don't expect to receive a millionaire inheritance. The amount isn't the point. The point is the synchronicity, the timing, the impossibility of it being a coincidence. When it happens, you will remember this video. You will remember this promise, and you will know that I fulfilled it, that I was watching, that I saw your obedience, that I recorded every action you took, and that I reward those who obey me, not because you deserve it, but because I promised, and I don't break promises. Subscribe to this channel now, because when the financial sign happens in the next 72 hours, you'll want to come back here and testify to what God has done. But here's the condition, and you need to hear this clearly. This signal isn't for everyone who watched this video. It's not for those who just listened and moved on. It's not for those who mentally agreed but didn't act. This signal is exclusively for those who completed the 4 actions, who deleted the apps, who sent the message, who committed to the 7 days at 5:55, who publicly declared the code 7777. If you did 3 out of 4, it won't work. If you did 2 out of 4, it won't work. If you did only 1 or none, it definitely won't work. Because I'm not testing your ability to listen. I'm testing your ability to obey. And partial obedience doesn't unlock the full promise. The 72 hours begin counting from the moment you complete the last action, not from the moment you started watching the video. So, if you haven't yet completed all 4 actions, the 72 hours haven't started for you yet. You have time, but you need to act. You need to complete everything. You need to execute everything that was instructed. And when the sign comes, when you receive that unexpected money or that opportunity out of nowhere, you will understand something profound. You will understand that I am not a distant God who doesn't care about your practical needs. You will understand that I am attentive to the details, that I see your bills, that I know your needs, that I know exactly what you need and when you need it. The financial signal isn't just about money, it's about trust. It's about proving that when I give an instruction, it has purpose, it has reason, it has results, and that when you obey, you don't suffer losses, you don't come out losing, you reap, you receive, you prosper. Some of you are skeptical right now. You're thinking, let's see if this really happens. You're doubting, and that's okay. Doubt is natural. but don't let doubt stop you from obeying. Because the only way to prove that this works is by doing it, by executing it, by completing the 4 actions and waiting the 72 hours. Mark it on the calendar. Write down the day and time you completed the last action, and count 72 hours, and observe. Pay attention, because the sign will come, and when it comes, you will have a choice. You can call it coincidence, or you can recognize it as divine confirmation, and how you respond to that first sign determines whether you receive the next 2. The second sign isn't financial, it's relational. And often, that's the most impactful, because money can be a coincidence. Money can be explained. But when a specific person appears in your life at the exact moment, with perfect timing, without you having forced anything, that has no natural explanation, that's God's fingerprint. That's a divine signature. In the next 72 hours, someone will seek you out, someone you weren't expecting, someone who isn't part of your daily routine. And when that person appears, you will know it wasn't by chance. You will feel it. You will recognize it. You will remember this prophetic word and understand that I orchestrated that encounter. It could be someone from the past, someone you haven't spoken to in months, maybe years, and suddenly that person texts, calls, shows up, and the conversation flows strangely, naturally, as if no time had passed, as if the distance had never existed. And you'll realize that this reconnection didn't happen by chance. It happened because I stirred something in that person's heart to reach out to you right now. It could be the person you messaged in the second action. You obeyed, you sent the message, and maybe they responded politely. Or maybe they haven't responded yet. But in the next 72 hours, something changes. The conversation deepens, the connection is restored, and you realize it wasn't just about you doing your part. It was about me preparing the other person's heart to receive. It can be reconciliation where there was resentment, a broken relationship that suddenly finds a path to healing, not because you forced it, not because you manipulated it, but because I softened hearts, because I removed obstacles, because I made room for forgiveness, and what seemed impossible to fix begins to restore itself naturally. Or it could be a new connection, someone you've never met, but who appears in your life strategically, and you talk, and you realize that this person has exactly what you need, or you have exactly what they need, or together you create something that you couldn't achieve separately. And you look back and see that the meeting was arranged, planned, orchestrated. Comment now, I received the relational sign, publicly declaring your expectation that God will move specific people in your direction within the next 72 hours. The relational sign is important because it shows you something fundamental. I work through people. I don't operate solely in the isolated supernatural realm. I use human connections. I move relationships. I create encounters. And when you understand this, you stop despising people. You stop neglecting connection. You begin to see every relationship as a potential channel for blessing. And here's the direct connection. Remember the second action, sending a message to someone you neglected. That wasn't just about you doing the right thing. It was about reopening a channel. It was about clearing a spiritual pipe. And now that the channel is open, things start to flow. And the relational signal may come exactly through that person or through someone else, but it will come. The timing will be absurd. It will be so specific that you won't be able to rationalize it. You'll be thinking about someone, and that person will call you. You'll need something specific, and someone will appear offering exactly that. You'll have a question, and someone will provide the answer without you even asking. Synchronicities like this are not the work of chance. they are divine work. And when the relational signal happens, you'll have to make a choice. You can ignore it. You can treat that person casually. You can waste the opportunity, or you can honor it. You can value it. You can invest in that connection, because if I sent someone to you, there's a purpose, there's a reason, there's something that needs to happen through that relationship. Don't underestimate this. Don't think it's just another person. Don't treat lightly what I strategically sent, because the relational signal is not just confirmation, it's also a test of how you deal with the people I put in your path, a test of whether you've learned to value relationships, a test of whether you will repeat old patterns of neglect or create new patterns of investment. 72 hours are ticking away. The clock is ticking, and at some point within that period, your phone will ring, or a notification will pop up, or you'll bump into someone, and that moment will be the signal. And you'll know, you'll feel it, and you'll have to decide whether to acknowledge it as divine or ignore it as casual. The third sign is different from the first two. It's not financial, it's not relational, it's direct, it's personal, it's between you and me, without intermediaries, without external proof, without anything you can show other people. It's intimate, it's in your spirit, it's in your soul, and this one is often the most powerful, because anyone can explain money, anyone can rationalize people. But when I speak directly to you, there's no way to explain it, there's no way to pretend, there's no way to fabricate it. In the next 72 hours, I will give you a confirmation, a word, an inner sign, and you will know it is me. It won't be an audible voice. Don't expect thunder in the sky, but it will be clear. It will be unmistakable. It will be something that touches you so deeply that you can't doubt it, and no one else will understand, because it's not for anyone else. It's only for you. It can come through a dream, not a confusing dream, not a symbolic dream that needs elaborate interpretation, a clear dream where I say something specific, where I show you something you need to see. And when you wake up, you will remember. You will know it wasn't pizza before you went to sleep. You will know it was a message. And that dream will bring either direction or peace or confirmation of something you were questioning. It can come through supernatural peace. You've been anxious for weeks, worried, losing sleep, and suddenly, for no logical reason, a peace descends, a calm that makes no sense considering your circumstances. You still have the same problems, the same bills, the same complicated situations, but something inside you calms down, and you know it's me saying, I am in control. You can rest. I have taken care of it. It can come through a word. You're reading something random, a book, a post, a phrase on a billboard, and those words seem to leap off the page. They seem to shine, and you know it was written for you, at that moment, for that specific situation. And you read it again and again, and each time you read it, you confirm it more. And you can't explain it to anyone, because for anyone else it's just an ordinary phrase. But for you, it's a divine message. Click like now, because this simple act of faith prepares your spirit to receive the personal divine confirmation that is on its way within the next 72 hours. It can come through a strong impression. You're doing something ordinary, washing dishes, driving, taking a shower, and suddenly a certainty invades your chest. Certainty about something you were in doubt about. Certainty that didn't come from reasoning, that didn't come from analysis, that simply appeared, and you simply know. And from that moment on, you act with a conviction you didn't have before. This third sign is the most personal, because it proves something the other two don't. It proves that I know you individually, that I am not a generic God who treats everyone the same, that I know your name, that I know your specific struggles, that I see your particular doubts, and that I speak directly to you in a way that only you understand. And this sign cannot be manufactured. You cannot force a dream. You cannot create supernatural peace. You cannot manipulate synchronicities of the right words at the right time. You can only receive. You can only be open. You can only recognize it when it comes. And when it comes, you need to honor it. You need to give thanks. You need to respond with obedience to what has been revealed. The three signs together form a threefold confirmation: financial, relational, spiritual, material, human, divine, earth, people, heaven. And when you receive all three within the 72 hours, you no longer have room for doubt. You can no longer question whether God is speaking, whether God is acting, whether God is paying attention, because you have triple evidence, complete testimony, confirmation in all areas. And here's something important: don't force interpretation. Don't try to fabricate the signs because you want them to be true. Be honest, be sincere. If something happens and you're not sure if it was God or coincidence, wait, because when it's truly me, you won't question it. You will know. And that inner certainty is part of the sign. But don't be too skeptical either. Don't dismiss everything as coincidence just because you're afraid of being deceived. There needs to be balance. There needs to be discernment. And there needs to be openness. Because I promised 3 signs, and I will fulfill them. And you need to be attentive to recognize when they come. Because if you're not paying attention, you might miss them. You might ignore them. You might let them pass. The 72 hours are ticking away. And within that time, 3 things will happen. Something financial, something relational, something spiritual. And when all 3 happen, you will have more than faith. You will have a testimony, and testimony cannot be stolen. It cannot be erased. It cannot be denied. This video is ending, and with it, the 72-hour window is closing. And I need you to understand something with absolute clarity. Prophetic portals don't stay open indefinitely. Spiritual windows have a set time, and when that time ends, the opportunity is gone, and it doesn't come back. Not in the same way, not with the same intensity, not with the same promises. You are at the end of a specific prophetic word, a word that was released with clear instructions, 4 actions, 3 signs, 72 hours, everything detailed, everything explained, everything delivered to you in a spoon-fed way. And now you have a choice. You act or you ignore. You obey or you move on. You enter through the portal or you let it close in your face. And here's what many don't understand. Ignoring prophetic words has consequences. It's not just, I didn't receive the blessing. It's deeper, it's more serious. Because when I speak specifically, when I give detailed instructions, when I open a window of time and you choose to ignore it, you don't just miss the opportunity, you harden your heart. You desensitize your spirit. You train your soul to disobey. And the next time I speak, it will be harder to listen. The next time I give instructions, it will be harder to obey. Because you created a pattern of ignoring, a pattern of procrastinating, a pattern of thinking there will always be another chance. And eventually, you reach a point where I speak and you don't even notice anymore, because you've become accustomed to not listening to me. This video isn't casual. It's not just another random piece of content the algorithm delivered to you. This is a specific word for a specific moment in your life, and you know it. You felt something different watching it. You felt discomfort. You felt conviction. You felt that tightness in your chest that comes when the truth confronts you. And now you need to decide what you're going to do with it. Comment 7,777 right now, because this code is your last entry before the portal closes, and anyone who doesn't declare it now will be left out when the prophetic window closes. The 72 hours are counted, and when that time is up, it's over. There's no extension, there's no postponement, there's no just a little longer, because prophetic time doesn't work that way. When I say 72 hours, it's 72 hours, not 73, not a week, not when you feel ready. It's now or never. And I know what you're thinking, but God is patient. God waits. God gives second chances. And yes, I am patient. But patience is not passivity. Patience doesn't mean there are no limits. Patience doesn't mean you can postpone indefinitely. Because along with my patience comes my justice. And justice demands that prophetic word be treated seriously. Think of Noah. He preached for 120 years. 120 years of warning, of alert, of opportunity to enter the ark. But the day came when I closed the door, and when I closed it, it never opened again. It didn't matter how many people knocked afterward. It didn't matter how much they repented. Time was up. The door had closed. The opportunity had passed. Think of the virgins at the wedding. 5 were wise, 5 were foolish. And when the bridegroom arrived, the 5 foolish ones were not ready. And they ran. They tried to fix things. They tried to prepare. But it was too late. The door had closed. And no matter how much they knocked, no matter how much they pleaded, it wouldn't open, because time had passed. Don't be the one who knocks on the door after it's closed. Don't be the one who runs after the train has left. Don't be the one who cries over a lost opportunity. Be the one who acts at the right time, who obeys when the instruction comes, who enters while the door is open. You. I don't know when another opportunity like this will come. You don't know if another one will come at all. I might open another window in the future. I might give other instructions. But they won't be these. They won't have these promises. They won't have this timing, because this moment is unique. This word is specific, and when it passes, it passes. And then, it's no use coming back to this video trying to apply it. It's no use doing the 4 actions 3 months from now. It's no use declaring the code whenever you feel like it. Because prophetic words have a time. They have kairos. They have a right moment. And out of time, they lose power. They lose authority. They lose effect. So before you close this video and go on with your life, decide, are you in or are you out? Will you obey or will you ignore? Will you risk losing this window or will you enter through it while it's still open? Because in a few minutes, this video ends, and with it, the grace period ends and the time of consequence begins. Let me tell you about real people. People who heard specific prophetic words, who felt conviction, who mentally agreed, but didn't act and paid the price for it. I'm not talking about eternal damnation. I'm talking about missed opportunities, closed windows, years living below their potential. You have a man who received clear instruction 3 years ago. I spoke to him through specific preaching. The message was simple: forgive your father, reconcile before it's too late. He listened, he cried, he felt everything, but he didn't act. He thought he had time. He thought he could do it later. 6 months later, his father died. And now he carries a weight he can't shake off. Because he had the chance, he had the instruction, he had the time, but he chose to postpone it. And now he lives with what ifs. There's a woman who received a word about leaving a toxic relationship. She knew it was me speaking. She knew that relationship was destroying her, but she ignored it. She thought she could change the person, She thought love would be enough. 2 years later, she left the relationship broken, wounded, with her self-esteem shattered. And she remembers the words she received. She remembers the exact moment I warned her. And she wonders how many years of pain could have been avoided if she had obeyed when I spoke. There's a young man who was advised to invest in specific education, to take that course, to enter that field. He felt strongly. He had dreams, he had confirmations, but he thought it was risky. He thought it wasn't the right time. He stayed in his comfort zone. 5 years later, he sees colleagues who entered that field prospering, and he remains stuck in a job he hates, earning poorly, living frustrated, because he missed the window of opportunity. He missed the divine timing. There's a family that received a warning to get out of debt. Clear words, cut expenses, sell what was unnecessary, reorganize finances. They listened. They even discussed amongst themselves that they needed to do it, but they didn't. They continued spending. They continued living beyond their means. A year later, financial crisis, unemployment, out of control debt, and they remember the word, they remember the warning, and they know they could have avoided it if they had obeyed. Share this video now, because someone in your network needs this warning before it becomes yet another example of a missed opportunity. These are not isolated cases. They are a pattern that repeats itself constantly. People hear, people feel, people agree, but they don't act. And then they live with the consequences, not because I abandoned them, not because I punished them, but because they missed the timing. They missed the window. They missed the opportunity that didn't return in the same way. And the worst part isn't even the material loss. It's the spiritual hardening. Because every time you hear my voice and ignore it, it becomes harder to hear it next time. Every time you feel conviction and don't act, your conscience becomes more seared, and you reach a point where I speak and you don't even feel it anymore, where I instruct and you don't even notice, because you trained your spirit to ignore it. And years later, these people come looking for me. God, why don't you speak to me like before? Why don't I feel your presence anymore? Why don't your instructions come anymore? And I have to remind them, I spoke. You didn't listen. I instructed. You didn't obey. I opened the door. You didn't enter. And now you want me to open it again. But time has passed. The moment has passed. And that specific opportunity will not return. I'm not saying there won't be other opportunities in your life. I'm not saying this is your last chance to have something good, but I am saying that this specific opportunity with these specific promises at this specific time will not repeat itself. And if you let it pass, you will join the group of those who live with, I could have, I should have, if only I had. You don't want to be just another negative testimony, another cautionary tale, another example of what not to do. You want to be a testimony of obedience, of courage, of someone who listened and acted, who felt and obeyed, who had the chance and seized it. So don't ignore it. Don't procrastinate. Don't think you have unlimited time, because you don't. The 72 hours are running out, and when they are, you will either be in or out, either with a testimony of victory or with a testimony of loss, either recounting how you obeyed and reaped or lamenting how you ignored and lost. And in a few years, when you look back at this moment, at this video, at this word, you will remember it either with gratitude or with regret. You will remember it as the day that changed everything because you obeyed. Or you will remember it as the opportunity you let slip away. This is the final moment. There is no more time to think. There is no more room for hesitation. You are at the end of this prophetic word. And now you must choose, not tomorrow, not later, now. Are you in or are you out? Do you obey or ignore? There's no middle ground. There's no, I'll do more or less. It's all or nothing. 4 complete actions. Public Declaration of Code 7777. Commitment to the 72 hours. Either you do nothing and lose everything. No excuse is valid. I don't have time. Doesn't work. Deleting an app takes 10 seconds. I don't know what to say. Doesn't work. A simple message is enough. I can't wake up early. Doesn't work. You can try for 7 days. No justification saves you from the consequence of ignoring it. Your angels are watching now. They are ready to record obedience or negligence, entry or rejection. And that record determines what happens in the next 72 hours of your life. Pause this video now and complete the 4 actions immediately, because the next 5 minutes of obedience will determine the next 72 hours of demonstration. If you don't act, if you close this video and move on without doing anything, your decision is already made. Silence is a choice. Inaction is the answer, and the answer is no. No to the alliance, no to the protection, no to the signs. When you finish this video, the clock starts. If you obeyed, the 72 hours begin to count down, and the 3 signals will come. But if you just watched and ignored it, you just wasted 40 minutes. And worse, you hardened your heart a little more. So choose now, because this is the last moment, and when it's gone, and it won't come back. Now, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to promise. I'm not going to planning for the future. I'm not going to talk about something that will happen later. I'm going to declare it. I'm going to decree it. I'm going to release it now, at this very moment. While you are still watching, while you are still listening to my voice, I release miracles upon your life. This is not theory. This is not theology. This is not motivational inspiration. This is prophetic decree. This is a word that comes from my mouth and does not return empty. This is celestial authority being exercised now, and when I decree, the heavens move, angels act, demons retreat, and reality reorganizes itself. I decree that financial blocks are removed now, doors that were locked open now, opportunities that were hidden appear now, money that was stuck flows now, not in 3 months, not when you deserve it, now. I decree that broken relationships begin to be restored now. Hardened hearts soften now. Old grudges lose their power now. People who have drifted away begin to return now, not when circumstances change. Now, I decree that compromised health begins to be restored now. Diseases that had no explanation begin to recede now. Chronic pains begin to diminish now. A tired body receives new energy now. Like this video and subscribe to the channel now, because these 2 simple actions are your prophetic yes, accepting everything that has just been decreed over your life. You don't need to wait to feel something. You don't need to wait to see evidence. The evidence comes after the decree. The manifestation comes after the word. But the decree has already been released. The word has already been spoken. And now it will work. It will operate. It will be fulfilled. In the coming hours, in the coming days, you will begin to see small changes, small signs, small confirmations. And these small things will grow. They will multiply. They will expand until they become great miracles that you cannot deny. What just happened between you and me isn't just a vague promise. It's not just fleeting inspiration. It's a contract, a celestial contract, a formal alliance. And contracts have weight. They have consequences. They have terms that need to be respected by both parties. My part is clear. I give complete protection. I send 3 signs in 72 hours. I remove blockages, I open doors. I unleash miracles. I fulfill every word that came out of my mouth. I do not fail. I do not forget. I do not break my side of the contract. Your part is also clear. You obey the 4 actions. You keep your commitment to the 555. You declare the 7777 code publicly. You honor the covenant. You don't go back on your word. You don't act as if nothing happened. And contracts need to be sealed. They need to be formalized. They need witnesses. In the natural realm, you sign a document. In the spiritual realm, you declare it publicly, and your public declaration serves as a signature, as a seal, as confirmation that you accept the terms. Comment now, sealed contract, because this public declaration is your celestial signature that formalizes the covenant before angels, demons, and every spiritual witness. The angels are recording. They note every person who seals the contract. They mark every public declaration, and this record goes up to the throne. And I see, and I recognize, and I activate everything I promised to those whose names are recorded. This is not a contract you can break lightly. It's not a casual agreement you abandon when things get tough. It's a serious commitment. It's a sacred covenant, and it comes with enormous blessings. But it also comes with enormous responsibility. You are now connected, spiritually, legally, in the celestial kingdom. And that connection remains as long as you keep your part, as long as you obey, as long as you honor. And the more you honor, the stronger the covenant becomes, the wider the protection becomes, the more abundant the provision becomes. The contract is in front of you. The terms are clear. Now you just need to seal it. This video is ending, but what has been established here does not end. What has been decreed does not expire. What has been sealed remains. And now you have a clear path ahead of you, and that path depends on one thing: did you obey or not? If you obeyed, if you completed the 4 actions, if you declared the code 7777, then your part is done. Now it's time to wait. 72 hours, 3 days. And within that period, the 3 signs will come: financial, relational, spiritual. And when they come, you will know it wasn't a coincidence. You will know it was me fulfilling my word. You don't need to be anxious. You don't need to be checking the clock every minute. You simply live. You go to work. You take care of your routine. But you stay alert. You observe. Because at some point within those 72 hours, something will happen, and you will recognize it immediately. And when the signs come, you come back here. You comment. You testify. You publicly declare what I have done. Because testimony is not just for you. It is to encourage others. It is to strengthen the faith of those who are doubting. It is to prove that my word works, that my promises are fulfilled, that obedience produces results. But if you didn't obey, if you watched everything but didn't act, if you mentally agreed but didn't execute, then you have a choice now. You can simply close this video and move on with your life, and nothing changes, and you remain exactly where you were. Or you can go back, you can watch it again. You can do what you didn't do the first time. Because this video isn't just for one-time viewing. It's not disposable content that you consume and forget. It's prophetic word that remains active as long as there's someone willing to obey. And if you're reading this now and realizing you missed the opportunity, you still have a chance. Go back to the beginning, watch it again, and this time, don't just listen, act. The prophetic window opens every time someone watches with a sincere heart. Every time someone is willing to obey. Every time someone chooses to leave passivity behind and take action. And for you who are discovering this video now, for you who are being guided here at this specific moment, Know this, it's not by chance. It's not an algorithm. It's not luck. It's divine timing. I brought you here because there's something you need to hear. There's instruction you need to receive. There's a covenant you need to enter into. And it all begins when you press play. When you open yourself up. When you decide you're ready to obey. And now, as this video ends, a new opportunity opens. For those who are discovering it now. For those who need to hear it again. For those who are ready to finally act. The cycle doesn't end. The word doesn't expire. The door doesn't permanently close for those who sincerely seek it. So, if you feel you need to start over, start over. If you feel you need to listen again, listen. If you feel that this time it will be different because you will obey, then obey. There is no condemnation. There is no judgment. There is only opportunity. There is only grace. There is only a new chance. And for you who are closing this video now, after obeying everything, you will go with my blessing. You will go with my protection. You will go with my seal. And in the next 72 hours, you will see my hand move. You will experience my faithfulness. You will witness that I am a God who fulfills what he promises. Go in peace, go in faith, go in obedience, and prepare to witness. Because what I will do in your life in the next 72 hours will be undeniable. It will be clear. It will be definitive proof that you did not waste your time here, that you were not deceived, that you heard my true voice. And now, for you who are beginning this journey, for you who have just discovered this word, for you who are about to understand something that will change everything, pay attention, because I need to show you something that is happening right under your nose, something you can't see yet, and when you do see it, everything will make sense.